The first time I was stalked. It started in 5th grade. I wasn't a complex kid. I didn't have a phone, no social media, that wasn't allowed until near the end of middle school, and I only had a tablet I could use for certain times of the day. My parents weren't really strict, and since I played outside all the time with my neighbors, I didn't really mind. It was to keep me from getting addicted to online games and developing a short attention span. To be honest, I'm grateful for it in hindsight. It made my peers' job of stalking me much harder. Anyway, a kid in my class, let's call him Damien, was weird. I didn't know him for long, but he was the worst sort of boy. He'd pull at girls' bra straps in the middle of class, making a loud noise, and telling the teacher the girls were distracting him. He'd tattle on you for everything, especially if you didn't include him in something. That's how this all starts, at the beginning of October of 5th grade. My best friend at the time, who I'll call Jane, had a strange sense of humor like I did. She didn't have any electronics at all, and when we were younger, those fake chat stories were all the rage over YouTube. So, I wrote down a bunch of them with glitter pens and was going to give them to her the next day in class so she could have something fun to read that evening and we could joke about it the next day. In comes this annoying, irritating, and obnoxious little boy, Damien. He threw a fit about not being able to look at the present for my friend. It got to the point that I just looked him in the eye and was like, "It's about girl stuff, Damien. You wouldn't want to read it. Unless you want to know how periods work?" Obviously, I was lying, but this kid demands to read it anyway as if he had a right to my belongings. I scoff and ask my teacher to use the restroom so I don't have to listen to him anymore and he could calm down while I was gone. Apparently, while I was gone, Jane saw him root through my bag. I sadly sat too close to him, and he pulled out my gel-colored pens and started writing nasty things into the little packet I was going to give to my friend using keywords such as murder, kill, fuck, and other cuss words that would be considered inappropriate. When I came back, he ran to the teacher and tattled on me that I was threatening to kill his family and murder his friends if he told someone about it. Lo and behold, my teacher snatched the gift I was going to give my friend, read through it, then looked at me with anger and immediately sent me to the office. Long story short, my parents were called and I was suspended for 3 days because of what Damien ended up writing in the packet of fake texts because I threatened to harm another student even though I never did, and while my friend protested that Damien wrote it. Along with this, they also ended up giving me a whole month's worth of detention, 2 hours before lunch every day, just because, when I was talking to my friend, Damien decided to eavesdrop on our conversation and tattled that I was spreading nasty rumors about some of the other girls in my grade and I wanted to hurt them when I was telling Jane I heard some of the other girls say about her. So, that was a second strike on my record and that's why there was so many detentions. My school was strict. Now that I have some basic explanations out of the way, I can continue about the main story here. After both of those instances, Damien continued to find little things to plant on me, rat me out for, or just bug me about in general. He went as far as to claim me and my best friend were lesbians and dating, but that I was cheating on her with a 6th grader. Like, no hate, but I do not like girls. I didn't really care about the rumor, but I was annoyed that he roped my friend into it. Finally, it all came to a head the next semester. We used to have to take 541 tests all the time, and on our little sheets we wrote down our scores and signatures from the teacher on. We had our names and addresses on them so they could send them to our parents at the end of the 9 weeks to show that we were on track. Apparently, Damien had copied down my address while I wasn't looking and proceeded to convince his parents to get their driver by my house consistently to say hi to a friend when all he really did was hurl insults at me or throw me notes into my yard. He's rich. A bunch of people in my town would be considered rich. Majority of neighborhoods around me have large houses/mansions. We're middle class. He took pictures of me while I was outside playing with friends and showed me the next day with the quip that I can't outrun him and that he knows where I live, so don't make me mad. It got super creepy when he started to print the photos of me and keep them in his school binder, and I told my teacher and principal about it, but they just told me boys will be boys and that I shouldn't be looking into his private folders without his permission, like it should be allowed for him to have photos of me without my consent when you can clearly tell in the photos I didn't know they were being taken. Even my parents didn't believe me, saying I was just making it up to blame the kid that got me in trouble. I wasn't lying, but all the adults thought I was because I've already gotten into so much trouble that year with little fault of my own. But he kept harassing me, taking pictures, leaving notes in my yard and backpack, messing me up during reading tests at the computers. He would sit too close to me in class, watch me at recess, and try and hug or touch me all the time. No matter how much I complained or told adults, they just told me to be happy that a boy likes me that much. This kept happening all through 6th grade, and when it came to my first middle school dance, he got worse. He tried to take photos of my dress, tried to steal one of my heels when I put them aside so I could run around the gym with my friends, stole money from my purse, etc. I'm pretty sure he had an obsession with me, distorted as it was. He would comment about my body during the gym class we shared, would complain I didn't wear shorts that showed my ass enough in 7th grade, and talked about how nice it was to look at me with a bloody nose and messed up hair. This was after I ran into the bleachers when playing Capture the Flag and I tried to snatch it from his hands. He jumped up onto the bleachers, out of bounds, causing me to not be able to slow down enough and my shoes caught on the floor, causing me to roll, getting burned on my arm from skinning it, and slamming my head into the bleachers. That hurt like a bitch, mind you. After that comment, I tried telling the principal again of the situation. He didn't care, so I stopped trying. He continued with the behavior to the point most days I couldn't bring myself to go to school. I would hide in the gym locker room bathrooms to avoid going out after roll call just so I wouldn't see him. At the end of 7th grade, he was caught with cigarettes with some other boys in the gym locker room, so his parents sent him off to military school. I bring up this whole story that was so long ago because he just recently tried to add me again on my socials. I obviously blocked him. But even then, now nearly 5 years passed, and he still tries to keep in contact with me. I don't think I'll be prepared for a day I have to see him again. Again, a true and disgusting story I had to experience. Find an adult that will listen to you. It's not worth going through this alone. If you would like to hear any more of my life stories, comment and let me know if you would rather hear about a time I got a girl expelled and how she fought off police years later, or about my brother's ex-best friend that was a child predator.